So I started working with the partners that we were working with to figure out what the name of this initiative should be. No matter what the issue was with the mural project, be it mental illness or suicide prevention or drug and alcohol, people talked about being in the dark and coming into the light. The idea was when you get to the porch light, then you're safe, you're home. And that's what the Porch Light Initiative gives to the people who participate in these projects. It's a safe place to talk about these issues. I think that people in these populations do feel marginalized. They feel like they don't have a voice, and they feel stigmatized. And the overarching goal of these projects is to remove that stigma, personally and with the community.
We had this huge exterior wall, and we said it's a canvas. It's a canvas waiting for something to happen. We are a behavioral health component of the city, and it was almost simultaneously with our interest that the Department of Behavioral Health in Philadelphia created this alliance with Mural Arts and the idea of the Porch Light Initiative.
James Burns, who is the muralist, and I thought about the project not just being about the individual, but going out into the circle, what an addiction does to your family, how it affects your community. And so we started conceptualizing the project around that premise.
In terms of the recovery movement itself, what we know we need to do is to look at whole human beings. I believe that everybody has creative elements associated with who they are. And when you talk about recovery, it's really about the recreation of a human being.
We laughed so hard when I first started doing the Mural Arts Program. I didn't know I could laugh like that. And when you're an intensive outpatient, when you first come in, all that laughter and all that's foreign to us. We're just off the streets for 30 days, and we've been out there, some of us, for over 20 years.
It changes your demeanor and everything about you. You're not you when you're an addict. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You don't choose to be an addict. When you're in complete addiction, you're not functioning. You lose all that and part of yourself in the process.
It seemed like it was a pretty good project to get people to do something together. Y'all have a common goal, you know? You can understand each other a little better that way.
It was good to actually kind of get some social skills back, because when I was using, I had no idea how to be a friend or have a friend, because, you know, I was on drugs and that's all that mattered to me.
I want to find something to motivate me other than drugs. And it's just as simple as that. Having something else to do that's positive is not negative.
I was only too glad to get involved and get paint under my fingernails. But for me, the real thrill was to be with 30 and 40 patients in the same room together and to experience their camaraderie with one another. You can't do this without cooperative elements of relationships, whether it's simple things like handing off colors or trading spaces with one another. If it isn't working cooperatively, it isn't working. I heard clinicians talking to clients about the painting as a parallel to the recovery process itself. You put it together a piece at a time, and ultimately you're going to have a big picture here. And so to see that whole thing come together and then have it bridge into other things.
Ursula Rucker came to do a poetry workshop with us. I don't know what it was that she did, or maybe it was just the charisma about her, but she just put on music and told us to write. And in about an hour and a half, I wound up writing 5 poems.
Before we knew it, we had 80 pages of poetry written by participants in these workshops.
Question of that class What is your idea of a perfect day? My idea of a perfect day was to love somebody and to know that I was loved in return. And that's what they put out there too, so.
James wanted to have that be a part of the public art piece, and we had these great walls around this parking lot. That poetry runs all around the building. It goes all the way down the street and the back. I mean, it's everywhere.
It really gave addiction and recovery a voice.
I've come a long way. I was really messed up. I was messed up really bad. My son died when I was almost 9 months to deliver him. So after that, I wanted to know my feelings. I didn't want to feel anything. When I was using, I stole from my mom. I stole from anybody. I didn't care. I was out there on the street doing whatever I could to get any money I could.
I felt myself actually dying on the inside.
I wound up losing my grandmother and my father. And that's what kicked off the hardest part of my addiction. I just fell into a hole.
I left a child screaming for me, "Don't go out tonight." And I would go, and that always haunts me.
When I stopped getting high, I realized how bad my life had become. It's like I'm starting from square one.
A lot of addicts, our minds are just overwhelmed with scattered things. We don't know how to sit down and relax or take a breath and not be using. The Mural Arts Program helped me clear my mind and not having thousands of thoughts overwhelming me. My only thought is, where can I get number 3? Does anybody have a 3?
We know anecdotally that we had an impact on people at Jev's. The counselors would say that people would come, they would paint, and when they went to their sessions, they were more open and more relaxed. And so it did have some therapeutic effect, but we didn't have any data to support that. Through the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, we were able to bring in evaluators from the Yale School of Medicine. They are collecting data right now on 3 specific communities over the next 3.5 years. So when we come out of this, there should be a paper that says community public art does have a positive effect on people in recovery, and this is the data to substantiate that claim.
Several years ago, I had the good fortune to meet Dr. Evans, who is the head of the Office of Behavioral Health. And he said that he wanted to work with Mural Arts. And so he said, we're going to see if we can better access mental health resources through art projects, and if we can address the issue of stigma as it relates to mental illness, addiction, homelessness.
The reality is that in our field, what we've done is we've expected people, when they need help, to go into treatment, and that we're going to fix them, and then we're going to discharge them back to their communities. We recognize that we have to do a much better job of making sure that communities understand addiction, understand recovery, can support recovery. So that's why this work is so important to us.
There's something about art that is transcendent. There's something about this process of creating and engaging that lifts up the individual. It connects them to family, it connects them to community, and more broadly, it impacts the city at large.
I would say to everyone that makes it possible for us to do this, thank you very much for just giving us something to look forward to and thinking of us, because so many people in society kind of shun us. Oh, you're just drug addicts, it doesn't matter anyway. We don't have to care about you because you're doing it to yourself. I would love for people just to see the goodness in people and that I'm not just an addict. Really bad things happen to good people.
Altogether, I have about 12 poems on the mural itself, and I participated in the painting of it. When you can step back and look at that and be like, I was a part of that, and that's going to be there forever. That's something to be really proud of, and I am.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lois Scalamera, and I'm a client of Jev's here at Act 2, and I'm a participant of this amazing mural project. With a closed mind and a closed heart, we'll never become closer, just further apart. Sometimes I wish a smile could take away the pain, like a fire that could withstand the rain. And only that fire is held in your eyes, and only you know the truth behind the lies. And maybe I'll be the one to stop the pain, and my smile be the one to take away the rain. Thank you so very much.